Welcome back. I am Largo, and today we are checking out the origins and the gameplay for the brand new upcoming character for Overwatch 2, Ramattra. This was a commenter suggestion, so thank you very much for that. From what I understand, Ramattra is going to be a tank. It's coming out in just a couple days for Season 2 of Overwatch 2. So let's go ahead and check this out. Hopefully he's a pretty cool character. Right. Ramattra, I like that name.
I was created to lead Omnics into war. But all I have ever wanted is a better life for my people. The fact that we exist is a miracle unto itself. We have studied the ways of peace and harmony.
Okay, so it's looking like Ramattra was a part of the temple. Maybe he studied with Zenyatta, and it looks like that might be Mondada in the back as his teacher. All right, so far so good. Pretty cool looking character so far, his design.
We have meditated on the universe and our place within it. We have tried to coexist with humanity, but humanity is not interested in sharing their world. How many more Omnics should perish to fuel mankind's dreams? No more. Our race is only a single generation, finite and dying all too quickly.
Yeah, dude, he's got a great point there. His entire race, the whole Omnics, are only a single generation. Man, if that's true, then yeah, they're really young. Because he said at the very beginning that he was designed to lead the Omnics in war. So I'm assuming he was designed during the Omnic Wars.
We can find our own place, and we must.
I love that he has like ribbon cables for hair.
Join me, and together we will make a better future for all Omnics.
All right, that was the origin story from Ramattra. Yeah, on one hand, you kind of understand why humans are really upset with the Omnics, because the whole Omnic War did kill a bunch of people across the entire planet. The Omnics basically tried to take over the world. But on the other hand, there are a lot of Omnics out there who were innocent in that didn't have anything to do with the Omnic Rebellion, and they are being exterminated. So it's kind of understandable where he's coming from, especially he made a very good point. Their entire race is only a single generation old, and already they're on the brink of extinction. So it's a tough spot to be in, because you can kind of sympathize with both sides of the story. So, on one hand, the robots did attempt to take over the world. On the other hand, not all the robots were responsible for that. In much the same way, human beings have tried to take over the world. We didn't completely destroy every single person that was even tangentially related to that. We didn't wipe out the entirety of the countries that were involved in World War II. So, okay, let's go ahead and check out the gameplay trailer.
I do not fight for myself. I never have. Together, we...
I really like his design. The angles, he's very angular. The coloration, the color scheme, black, purple, and silver, it looks phenomenal. I don't know if you guys can tell, but I am a fan of purple. His whole look, his design, his the ribbon cables for the hair, the scarf he's got going on, and the staff, man, that's a cool looking staff, and it fits with his whole appearance. And it all matches with I think that's null sector robots in the back. The actual aesthetic design of the character is really good.
We are unstoppable. This is not my victory. It is ours.
It's Hanu.
Alright, got a shield.
You are finished.
Okay.
Come, let us punish them.
Oh, that's cool.
You were warned. Fight with me. Fight until you fall.
Okay, so it looks like he's got a block similar to Doomfist, so I'm assuming that he takes reduced damage while he's blocking like that. Also, very cool that he has a different mode he can transform into.
I will break before I yield. They will be annihilated. This is not cruelty. This is justice.
From his point of view, right? You know, he says this is not cruelty, this is justice. From his point of view, yeah, he's right. He's right. But like I said, there's two sides to this coin, and one could definitely argue that the Omnics are absolutely a danger. But in the world of Overwatch, it seems like the Omnics are real, legitimate artificial intelligence with free thought, free will. So at that point, you know, you're talking about wiping out sentient beings. That's a tough one, man, as far as the morality of all that goes. All right, so let's talk about his abilities a little bit. So Ramattra here is the first tank in the game that has a transformation. Now Bastion is in the game and he does have a transformation, but it's not as drastic as this. Ramattra's transformation changes his whole silhouette. He gets a whole new silhouette and he becomes much larger. I looked up a little bit about him, so it seems like his staff here is a ball that has some nanites that spin around it and can fire out. His primary weapon, the staff, shoots a projectile with no fall-off damage, and it acts like a beam, so it goes straight out with no arc or projectile drop. It can do critical damage, so it seems like it's going to be a great poke weapon, especially for tanks. Really didn't have a lot of options for going up against flying units, and his primary fire seems like it would actually be pretty decent against flying opponents. Speaking of flying opponents, we know that he has another ability called Ravenous Vortex, which can bounce off of walls, and when it hits the ground, it creates a large AoE area that actually pulls flying units down to the ground, which could be very useful. Again, like I said, tanks were basically helpless against flying units like Pharah and Echo. Now, this gives Ramattra two separate abilities that are capable of affecting flying units. So his primary fire on his staff can poke damage at them, and then he can drag them down to the ground where both he and the rest of his teammates can eliminate the flying characters. So on top of that, I think this is going to be really good for PvE. I know everybody's focusing on PvP because that's what's out right now. That's what people are playing. That's what people are used to from Overwatch. Me, personally, I want to play the PvE of Overwatch. I want to do those kind of missions, and Ramattra seems like he's going to be great for that. We know the enemies are going to have flying units, so it seems like they're kind of preparing for that. He will be fantastic in that mode, especially if he's able to pull all those flying units down to the ground, and then your other characters can use their abilities to take care of them. So, very cool. And then, of course, there is his nemesis form, the transformation form. He has his omnic form, which is the one that is his base standard form, the one that uses the staff. But then he has his nemesis form, which changes his whole silhouette, gives him extra health in the form of armor, which is always good because there's damage reduction on armor. And then he gets the ability to block like Doomfist, reducing incoming damage from the front exactly the same way as Doomfist. He's able to use Ravenous Vortex while in his nemesis form, which is good. And then he has the ability to punch with Pummel. His Pummel is very interesting because it apparently goes through barriers, which is really good. Also, again, will be very useful in PvP. Not only is there flying enemies, but we know they also have barriers. We know they have units with barriers. So not only does his Pummel attack in Nemesis form send a shockwave through the barrier, but it also pierces enemies, meaning you can hit more than one enemy through this, even if they're one in front of the other. Like, you can't body block his Pummel attack, which is absolutely incredible. You could take out healers behind a shield and behind the tank's body itself. Incredibly useful. This guy is going to be a force to be reckoned with. And then, last but definitely not least, we have his ultimate ability called Annihilation. Annihilation is very reminiscent of Zenyatta's Transcendence, except the exact opposite. Rather than healing everybody in a radius, it actually does damage to everybody in a radius. And unlike Zenyatta's Transcendence, apparently, as long as there is at least one enemy in the radius of your ultimate, it will keep going indefinitely. From what I understand, Nemesis form does have a time limit on it. There is a cooldown on it, so you can't just pop the ultimate and stay there forever. It will shut off. It does actually have a time limit on it, not on the ability itself, but on the fact that it's limited to the form he's in. And his Nemesis form has a limited amount of time you can be on it. It's on a cooldown. I believe it's on a 12-second cooldown. The other interesting thing about his ultimate ability is not only does it do damage to everyone in a radius and continue to do damage to them unless they move out, but it also reduces incoming damage from enemy fire by 50%. That is wild. So unlike a Reaper getting killed in the middle of his Death Blossom, Ramattra is going to be much more difficult to take down in the middle of his ult. I don't know if he can throw up his block while he has that up. I don't think he can. I think that much damage reduction, 50% incoming damage reduced due to the ult, plus the block, that would basically make him unkillable. Add healing from teammates, and he would absolutely be unkillable. So I don't think he can block while he's in his ult. Either way, this ult is going to be a game changer, not only for capturing points, but also for contesting payloads in overtime. It's going to be a huge thing. We're going to have to see what kind of techniques and strategies are created to deal with a Ramattra using his ult during overtime to try and clear people off the payload or point. So it's going to be very interesting. He's got quite a few abilities, lots of defensive tank abilities, as he should, because he is a tank. He's got his barrier, which functions much like a Mei wall, the block, the Nemesis form. Seems like he's going to be able to output quite a bit of DPS using his staff, his Pummel, and his ultimate. Like I said, aesthetically, his design is really good. I really like it. The ribbon cables they have for his hair, on his staff, the design of his staff, the nanite, the concept of nanites as weapons, and him using them to alter his body and change his silhouette. There's a lot going on with this character. Might be the most technically complex character of all the tanks, but I think he's going to be a ton of fun to play. I'm really excited to play this guy, especially in PvE. I really want to get in there and play those story mode missions more than I actually want to play against other people. So overall, yeah, I think this Ramattra character is gonna be pretty good. We're gonna have to see. He is brand new, so there's a good chance he's gonna be a little bit over-tuned. He might be a little bit too powerful, but we'll have to see. I'm sure once people start playing with him, they'll tweak the numbers a little bit. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, go ahead and click that like button. Go ahead and consider clicking that subscribe button as well. And as always, leave a comment down below. Let me know what other videos I should be checking out. Do you want to see more Overwatch videos? Should I do some more of those Overwatch cinematics? Let me know down in the comments. As always, guys, thanks so much for stopping by. Thanks for watching the video. Take care of yourselves and have a great day.